Today we're going to do Frito Pies. Yesterday it snowed in Mississippi, and so I made 2 pots of chili. I made a chili de los Angeles and a chili de los Diables. The difference being the amount of ancho peppers in the chilies. And so if you want to take a look at the 2 different chilies, this is the Angeles, and you can see there's no big hunks of pepper in there. If you look over here, well, there's one. Isn't that beautiful? A whole jalapeno that I've scored and put in whole. There are big hunks of dried ancho chilies in this. And to fancy this up a little bit, Frito Pie is usually a pretty pedestrian dish. But we're going to fancy it up with some fresh cilantro, fresh squeezed limes. I'm going to make a chiffonade of my cilantro, which if your college was anything like mine, you're pretty good at rolling up leafy things here.
But what do you mean, Tom?
Whatever do you mean? We're just going to slice through this.
It smells good. That's no dried cilantro.
It's not dried cilantro. Here's a trick. You hear this cutting board rocking around like that? Let's fix that. Our cutting board was rocking around a good bit. That happens when you have uneven surfaces, especially in old houses. So what you do is you take a dish towel, you dampen it, wring out most of the water, lay it out on your surface, you set your cutting board on top. Now, you have a much more solid surface to work with. Your cutting board doesn't move around on you, doesn't rock, doesn't make all that noise. This makes it a little safer too, because you're dealing with a sharp knife. You want the surface you're cutting on to be very stable. So we're going to work through the cilantro, get it pretty fine. Set it in a bowl. Set out our mise en place, which is a fancy French word for just having the things where they belong. It literally translates to putting in place. Next we're going to take our limes, and to get a lime nice and juicy, put it on your board and press and roll. And what you're actually doing is breaking up the cell membranes that surround the lime pulp and releasing the juice. We're just going to cut this into 1/8. Be very careful not to cut off our fingers. We're going to squeeze that over the top of our Frito Pie when it's all done. Best Frito Pie I ever had in my life. I was with my good friend and chef Dan Blumenthal. We had flown into Austin, Texas to go to a wedding. And when we got there, we stopped at a gas station to fill up the gas tank in this little PT Cruiser we had rented. And the gas station had a little diner in it. And everything was in Spanish, and it was just this tiny little diner. It smelled so unbelievably good. Blumenthal walked up and, like a complete local, says he wants a Frito Pie with lime. And he brings out these 2 paper boats with Fritos on the bottom, this great chunky red Texas chili on top of it, not that Cincinnati cinnamon beef soup stuff. And they had fresh cheese on top and a little wedge of lime on the side and 2 bottles of Tecate. That was the best Frito Pie I've ever had, and it was so good that entire trip we decided to eat nothing but chili everywhere we went. So we had chili in great big bowls that were all fancy with creme fraiche on them. We had chili on hot dogs. We had chili in every possible meal we could. So I'm gonna try to replicate that. We're gonna start with Fritos. Just good old out of the bag, inexpensive Fritos. Make a little pile of them there on the bottom. This is, what do you want, Diablo or Los Angeles?
I want Los Angeles.
Okay.
I'm scared.
I'll make you some girl chili, Monty.
Yay!
Just gonna scoop the chili in on top.
It smells good. Is there chocolate in there?
There is.
I can smell some chocolate.
I use about 6 ounces of bittersweet chocolate for split between the 2 pots over there. Now we need a good, healthy dose of cheese on the top. A little cilantro for brightness.
Yes.
We're just gonna squeeze that lime right on top. And set another lime over the side for garnish. And there you have upscale Frito Pie.